Okay, for this video, I am going to show how to use what is called a random trigger. And what that does is it allows you to trigger different timelines in your visual effects. And it triggers it randomly, as the name implies. And I'm going to use it to create a Rite and Catastrophe replacement for the Sophia pack. So I'll start with my rites here. So here's a rite that I made for Ramu. What I'm going to do is I'm going to combine the rites that I made for Ramu and Emerald Rite. So to do that, to start, I've got two timelines here that I need to combine. That's not difficult, so I need to add 5 and 6 with binder 4 to this timeline. And they have a delay of 5 according to my schedule here. So, and duration of 30 frames. Alright, so I'll give them 30 frames. And delay them by 5. And they use binder 4. So when it comes to random triggers, you need every emitter on the timeline to have a binder. Timeline binders or the binder here will not work. So all of these have to have a binder. So I'll update that. I'm going to save this timeline. And this is, what was it? Amethyst, right? Caster. So this is the caster visual effect. Now I will grab the target visual effect. Looks like it looks like I need to import some textures here. So these are old textures, but that's fine. It should be in my, here we are. And M0243. So it should be under monster. So this is a pack that I have that's also available in the resource folder that has all the old timelines before I think it was the patch 6.5 break that I use for fixing texture issues. SMK, there you are. And again, SMK. Okay, so, alright, so now that's working. Make sure, okay, so these all need a binder. So a problem I might run into here is that these two have delays. They're all supposed to be on binder 0, but I need to get rid of these delays. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the binder here. And let's look at emitter 8. First of all, clean this up. So let's look at emitter 7. And do that a few times. Sometimes it struggles. Okay. Okay, so emitter 1. What I need to do is I need to delay whatever emitter 1 is spawning by 2 frames. So come down here, generate delay, 2 frames. This one already has 2, so that goes up to 4. This one, so add 2 to all of those. And then emitter 2 has a delay of 4 frames. So come to emitter 2, everything on here gets 4 frames added. So now I can set these earlier, and it should look the same. Yep, just about the same. Sometimes there can be some issues with like scaling and stuff on the emitters, but it doesn't look like I have any of that here. So I will save this timeline, Amethyst, right, target. Okay, so now I need to pull Emerald Right. So for a random for a random trigger, I will use one visual effect file. That's all I'll use. And for this, I'm going to use C0K1. The way this works is you can see here all of these have. Oh, before I do that, I need to pull the target one for Emerald Right. So for that, I need to check this, and yeah, all of these have no binders, should be binder 0, so binder 0 there, binder 0 there, and so on. Okay, so now I can check binder 0 first. What is its? Okay, so yeah, it is on hit. Okay, so starting with binder 1, I need a delay of 4, or emitter 1, I need a delay of 4 on all of these. And check these for any kind of changes. So here we have some changes that occur over time. So what I'm going to have to do is also delay these by 4. And now I can move this up. Come to emitter 2, same thing, 4 frames. And no changes over time. Okay, so I can move emitter 2 up, come to emitter 4. Emitter 4 needs 7 frames, so 7 frame delay here. No changes over time, it looks like. Oh, yes we do. This becomes 13, and this becomes 7. So move emitter 4 up, now emitter 5. Same thing. Delay you by 7. Move emitter 5 up, now emitter 6. And delay of 8. Okay, so now this should look the same as this. And if there's slight differences, I'm not too concerned, but as long as it's the same general principle. Okay, so now save this timeline as Emerald Right Target. And now I don't need that anymore. So what I have here is I have the caster visual effect of Emerald Right, and this one, they all have binders, so they're fine. Now I'm going to import the Emerald Right Target, and I'm going to import Amethyst Right Caster and Amethyst Right Target. So I've got 4 timelines here. I'm also going to add a fifth timeline. I'm going to come in here to clips. So in clips, I'm going to come to this drop down, choose random trigger, and I'm going to change this to 1. So the way this works is this references a tab in the scheduler called the triggers. And 0 and 1 correspond to 0 and 1 here. And you have up to 11, which gives you 12 slots to work with. So I'm going to set timeline 0 here for my caster visual effect for Emerald Rite, and set timeline 2 here for the caster visual effect of Amethyst Rite. Next, I'm going to add triggers to Emerald Rite's timeline here. And this is going to be just trigger. And what this will do is this will reference a node that I select here. So I'm going to use, just to keep them spaced out a little bit, I'm going to use 3, and then I'll use 4 for Amethyst, right? So if it's 3 here, I need 3, 3. And then here, if it's trigger 4 and 4. So now, when I spawn this, maybe I don't need that. Oh, I forgot to add the, so yeah, I need to add the clip, this trigger clip here. And to do that, come down here, select clip enabled, and it puts the trigger on my timeline. Now I need to select a delay for it. Now to figure out the delay I want to basically copy Emerald Rite, I'll come here and compare the timing of the visual effects. So I'll also grab the sound effects. So the caster visual effect starts at 0, and the hit is at 13. So I want this delay to be 13. Now I have timeline 0 set up there. So spawn this on myself. Now you can see it's got the caster visual effect and the target. So let me do this.
I would know the weight of your soul.
Now. Oh, I need to edit the TMB first. So Ruby right, select end. I don't want the target visual effect. I don't want the target sound. I actually don't even want this sound. And I'm going to remove this because I don't like those. And I'm going to change the animation. I like Gravity's animation. And to use that, I just copy this path code. Since the rights use the action.pap file, changing this will change it to a different code within action.pap. So I chose another ability that is also in action.pap, which is Gravity. So now I will place her aside, and let's go into G-pose. Okay, so you see there's no sound effects, but we've got our visual effect, Emerald Rite. And while I'm here in these TMBs, go ahead and grab my sound effects. I like to put the sound effects on visual effects because their visual effects can be limited with some in-game settings, whereas TMB sounds are harder to limit if you don't use the right settings. And let's see, go to my trigger here. I'll put it on 8. Alright, so see this again. Okay, so Emerald Rite is set up with a trigger all on one visual effect file path. Now, to do my random trigger. So for this, come here, add clip, adds the random trigger, and I have to change this timeline to timeline 4, which is what has the random trigger on it. And make sure this is set. Okay, so timeline 2 has my trigger there. And now to figure out what my delay needs to be on my Amethyst Rite. To do that, I'm going to pull the TMB I made for Amethyst Rite, which was on 11 Strike Summoner. So the visual effect starts at 5. And then hits at 25. I believe that when I made this, it had a different animation. So to be sure, I come here and check these binders, the spline. And let's see what their carryover is. So it's 7. So 11 plus 7 should be closer to about 18. We'll go with 20. Okay, so you see there it plays Emerald Rite, and it also plays Emerald Rite again, but the first one was the Amethyst Rite that I made. So there's my Amethyst Rite. Okay, now grab the sound effects that I put in here when I first made this, because I was doing different things at that time. And come here, add the sound effect to 22. And what is the sound effects I use here? Okay. And that sound effect to 16. And now let's look at this again. So it starts pretty early with that sound effect. Ah, I see why. So let's move the sound effect onto change the sound effect I'm using here. So I'm going to use the same one that I put on Emerald Rite. I'm going to put it on Amethyst. No, I don't like that either. Let's do the original. So this was the base, like the basis for Amethyst Rite. Let me try this again. Better. That is the drawback of randomization, is sometimes you get 4 or 5 of the same one in a row, and it does not want to change. Okay. That's good, but let me see if I can layer some sound effects here. So this one was supposed to start at 5, which is fine, because these start at 5. And I could even put it on 17, which is at 6. Let's try that. There's Emerald Rite again. Okay. I don't like it layered, so I'm going to remove that and just stick with the Topaz Rite sound. Okay, so that is Rite of the Goddess, or Goddess Rite, maybe. Yeah, we'll go with Goddess Rite. Okay, so Goddess Rite is done. Now, work on Catastrophe. Select this, and lots of emitters to fix. So just dive into it. This needs a delay of 6 on its emitters, or on its visual effects, so 10, 6, 9, 16. No changes over time. Okay, so I can move that up. Emitter 3 needs a delay of 3. 3, 8, 8, 3, 3. And check for, yep, there's a change over time, so 5, 3. Same thing, 21, 3. So move that up. This needs a delay of 4. Okay, so 20, 18, 16, 14, 12. I can leave that where it is. Same thing, 20, 12, 8, 6, 4. Alright, so move that up. Emitter 4 needs a delay of 18. Oh no, 5 needs a delay 19. And make sure of that. Okay, I think I messed up there. I'm gonna try this again. 0. What even is the life? Okay, so coordinate update frame is 0, so it has to be set immediately. So 6, delay of 6. One zero 6 9 16. Okay, move that up. Emitter 3, delay of 3. And check scale. 21, 3. 5, 3. Move that up. Should be emitter 6 and use this instead. 6, delay of 4. So that should be 13, 7, 4. 14, 10, 4. Delay you by 4. Alright, now 4. Delay of 18. Scale. That's 34, 26, 22, 20, 18. It's 34, 32, 30, 28, 26. Alright, and that can be moved up. Delay of 19. Okay, so this just straight up delay. Delay of 20 on 7. 20, 25, 23, 26, 20. Okay, so move that up. Emitter 8 is delay of 20. 3, 20, scale, rotation, position, color. Okay, so move that up. Delay of 25 on my cylinder, which is 9. So that's 45, 32, 25, delay of 25. Move that up. And now everyone gets a binder. And Catastrophe. Okay. That looks okay. I don't think it's exactly the same. It's almost a bit more. But honestly, that's fine. I like it. Timelines, so Emerald, Catastrophe, Target. Now, I need to do the Catastrophe that I made for Levin Strike. And I'm missing textures. Let's start by cleaning this up a little bit first. And texture is a Mount SP. VFX Mount SP D002. Still seems to be having some issues. Okay, let me just grab from the original creature I drew it from. Oh no, wait, it's Mount, Magitech Armor. It has a mounted ability, so let me search that. always so difficult to find these things. D1002. No, D0002. There it is. And oh, it's got a lot of mount SPs. Nope. There it is. So this was the original one that I pulled from. I'll just pull it again. One of these is doing that ground visual effect, so there it is. And let's see if these others, see if I keep these others. Yeah. Now, I had some position differences here. What position? 3 meters. Okay. And I'm just going to add my 3 meters here. 0, 1, 2, 4, and 5. Okay, so that's good. Now, my binder. So everything gets a binder. And you need a delay of 40 or of 20. Okay. Alright, that's ready to go. So I'm going to save view. I cannot spell. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to import, actually I'll just select it from here. So on catastrophes, I like to give them glyphs just like the rites have. So I'm going to select the one I made for my Astral Flare or Catastrophe here. And it's the same one, but it has a different binder location. So, like, I think the goal, yeah, has 3 meters. So it adds 3 meters so that it hits at the same spot. But I need to move these and double check here. Yeah, I need to move these over here. So unlike my rights, these have Y positioning differences. And delete them by 5. Save that. Catastrophe. Caster. Now I need to do one more thing I forgot to do before starting this. I need to download my Gale Force Summoner because I need to pull the Catastrophe visual effect, the caster visual effect from it as well. Because I add a glyph to that one too. But while that loads, I'm going to... Oh, it's loaded. Okay, so Penumbra. Load that in here. Now, search it. Gale Force Summoner. And this one should already be set up. So I'm going to use this as my base. So now, import Amethyst, or Emerald Catastrophe target. So that's 0 and 1. And now, Amethyst, caster, and Amethyst target. Same thing. Figure out what I need to set my delay to by looking at... I'm going to look at the right in this case because I'm using the right glyph, or the glyph from Emerald Right. So if the visual effect starts at 0, hits at 13, so again, starts at 0, I need a trigger. Again, we'll do 3, and set up my scheduler and timers. So that's 0, and that's 2, and that's 1, and that's 3. So the caster visual effect for Emerald Catastrophe, the caster visual effect for Amethyst Catastrophe, the target visual effect for Emerald Catastrophe, and the target visual effect for Amethyst Catastrophe. So my trigger's there. Add the trigger to the timeline. That should be 0, and it should start at 13. Now, let's see if that plays. Okay, so it plays. Now, grab my sound effects for Emerald Catastrophe. added to 9. The other reason I put sound effects on the visual effects is for abilities like this, where I need it to be randomized. Alright, so Emerald Catastrophe is working. So now Amethyst Catastrophe. And I'm going to, since the Topaz Rite was the basis for the caster visual effects on this, use Topaz Rite as the reference. So it has a delay of 15. Although I'm pretty sure that's for the growth of the stones. So I'm going to start with 15 and see what that looks like. Should be trigger 4. Yeah, that actually works. So grab the sound effects from my ability that I made for 11 Strike Summoner. Actually, I should switch that to Topaz Rite's sound effect there. So for the caster sound effect, Topaz Rite. And cylinder 19. Now, what was the target sound effect? Put that on 25. Okay, so now create the random emitter, a random trigger. It should be 0 to 1. Add it to my timeline. Enable it. Okay, so the visual effects should be set up now. So now I will grab Repeat Catastrophe and use the animation from Ruin 4. Summon Phoenix.
I would know the weight of your souls. Even in death, there is no relief.
Okay. Oh, I need to remove the sound effects from here. And remove the TMP stuff. And this should start at 0. And you, please get out of the way. So I need to change the sound effect. Or, well, really I should just change the start time of this. Let's try 6. Let's actually take it all the way down to 0. So to view them just by themselves, so I can get a feel for the sound effect timing, switch that to just play this one. And I'm going to change this. So this code right here changes some of the, or activates certain binders that otherwise would not be active, because I have some visual effects on my left hand that I'm going to put on my book instead. Yep, there it is. So I'm going to change that to 4. So binders 3, 4, and 5 only activate if you change that bind point in the TMB to 257. Now they should activate on the book instead. See that? On the book. And it's a little too delayed, so let's change. Let's bring this down to 10. No, let's bring it back up to 15. Might need to add just a delay to the sound effect. Or really a delay to the visual effects. So to do that, take the sound effect, add one emitter, add the sound effect there, add the sound effect to the timeline, and let's give it a nice long duration, and put it on binder 8. We'll give this a delay of 5, give these all a delay of 5. And now take this down to 10. There we go. Sound effect sounds more on target there. Now, reset this back to be randomized. I'm gonna back up a bit so it's easier to see. Hide that. And that is my dog barking. Okay, so yeah, there's randomized timeline, or random trigger, I should say. I'll export that. Goddess, Catastrophe. I shouldn't even need the texture. Since I reverted to using the normal game's textures instead of the old ones. But yeah, that is randomized timeline.